From the north side of the San Francisco Bay to Singapore, welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host, business owner, lecturer, author, master trainer, Tiaja. With over 30 years of experience in the health and fitness industry, he will challenge the fitness between your ears. So prepare your mind, body, and soul for the revolution of self-care, the evolution of fit, with real talk about real people, real health, real fitness, and the real deal behind our present illness culture. Real talk every time, all the time. Get weekly insights on how to shift your thinking, emoting, eating, training, hydrating, goal setting, and resting for you, the everyday athlete. You can cheat your fitness, but you can't steal your health flow. It's Tuesday, 9 a.m. Let's flow.
So what caused this in people? Are you born with an over-narcissistic personality? Does it get enhanced somehow over time?
Well, narcissism is a personality trait, so it has the same determinants as any personality trait. So other personality traits would be things like being highly anxious, being outgoing. And a good amount of that, yeah, you are born with some of those tendencies. But there's plenty of variance left over. But that's explained by things like parenting and the culture you grew up in and other parts of the environment. And those also play a strong role in determining how narcissistic someone is.
Let's talk a little bit about parenting.
Okay.
You've written about this wave in the 70s where we told children, you are special, you're unique, you're one of a kind. And you have found that there's some correlation between that kind of parenting and even education and this rise in narcissism.
Yeah, so parenting is one of the major causes of the narcissism epidemic. And that's because, no parent ever says, my goal is to raise a narcissistic kid. No. It's part of this overall individualistic culture. It comes from the good intentions of trying to develop high self-esteem. It comes from these cultural pressures toward uniqueness and standing out and so on. But the problem is a lot of the ways that schools and parents have tried to boost self-esteem, they're actually building narcissism. So telling a kid you're special is a great example of that, because I think I am a special person is one of the items on the narcissism inventory. It's a central part of the definition of the trait, that you think you deserve special treatment, you're better than everyone else. I think when parents say you're special to a kid, what they really mean is, I love you. And they really should say that instead. That would be a much better message.
Does the I'm special then make people less similar, instead of saying, look, we're all in this group together?
Right. And, people are going to differ. We know that, and it's good that we've had this movement over the last few decades to accept difference. But emphasizing that specialness and uniqueness and standing out so much does tend to create that situation where we're focusing on that, and we're focusing on being better and standing out. And that's the key, I think, to solving some of this, is reminding kids, and adults for that matter, just how much we have in common as human beings.
In Greek mythology, Narcissus was a hunter who was known for his beauty. He was the son of the river god Cephasus. He was proud in that he disdained those who loved him, causing some to commit suicide to prove their unrelenting devotion to his striking beauty. Nemesis noticed this behavior and attracted Narcissus to a pool where he saw his own reflection in the water and fell deeply in love with it, not realizing it was merely an image. Unable to leave the allure of his reflection in the pool and having developed an unrequited love that could never be reciprocated, Narcissus lost his will to live and committed suicide. Now, the transition from narcissism to failure to self-blame is nearly imperceptible. Most of it takes place on a subconscious level. The embarrassment and blow to your self-worth manifest in a myriad of ways, in all ways, and our bodies response to failure can even mimic physical pain. So you respond in a way that masks the pain of failure rather than learn from it. There's a Korean proverb when translated says that tears are a manifestation of gratitude. What do you think? Are tears a manifestation of gratitude? Well, in this culture, probably not. Tears are often seen as a sign of weakness and failure in American culture. So let's keep it real. The race to so-called perfection is literally killing our children. When faced with obstacles, many are ill-equipped to overcome them, let alone face them. It's becoming increasingly difficult for them to find words that haven't been weaponized. One of the most overlooked yet glaring examples of inequality are the words we choose to use versus those we choose not to use or even hear. Little wonder why so many people are no longer on equal ground relative to their ability to communicate their thoughts and feelings without the excess baggage of discrimination. There was a time when we had empathy for people who had less than we have. Today we seem to only have contempt for them. Listen to the manner by which people dehumanize and disrespect and despise one another on social media, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now take a quick look into the daily lives of two iGen teens who grew up viscerally connected to the internet, yet emotionally disconnected from everyone and everything else. Stephanie and Lena are checking out the boys and sort of window shopping, meaning they stop every other shop to take another selfie in front of an outfit they think will look killer on them. This is a game, and the rules dictate that you take a selfie of yourself in front of an overly priced item of clothing, something you might have seen the Kardashians wear, and then see who gets the most views or like. Born in 2005, both Stephanie and Lena have never known a world that was disconnected. The iPhone was introduced in 2007, and now 2 out of 3 US teens owns one. Are there better, cheaper phones on the market? Perhaps, but none of them have the status of an iPhone or an iPad. Apple has done a remarkable job on cornering the adolescent market. As Stephanie told a former because she didn't meet the group's standards, you have to have an iPhone. Sadly, since her friend's parents couldn't afford one, she was voted out of the clique. Yes, they actually voted. Stephanie and Lena grew up with an iPhone in one hand and infant formula in the other hand. Now let me say something about that. There's something to be said about a generation being raised primarily on infant milk. That is, we now have an entire generation of millennial parents, albeit mostly single parents, who don't want to breastfeed because they are deathly afraid that it will change the shape of their breast, or that breastfeeding itself or expressing milk takes too much time away from other activities that they want to do. Now you might think this is the epitome of selfishness and narcissism, but let me remind you that narcissism isn't genetic, it's learned. Stephanie and Lena both boosted an Instagram and Facebook following before they were out of elementary school. But according to Dr. Jean Twenge, such connectivity has wreaked havoc on this generation deemed the iGen generation. The I in iGen representing both the internet and individualism. iGen teens not only have taken individualism for granted, they have taken it to a level never before seen in human history. They don't worry about doing the right thing in any moral sense, but rather are preoccupied with doing the right things to become financially successful and famous. According to Dr. Twenge, due to these influences and many others, iGen is distinct from every previous generation in how they spend their time, how they behave, their attitudes towards religion, sexuality, and politics. Now, less than 5 minutes later, Stephanie lets out a screech. 100 likes already! Her followers are out in full force. Neither Stephanie or Lena have looked up from their phones since entering the mall. Instead of expressing her annoyance with Stephanie for beating her, Lena sends out a scathing photo with text on Instagram about Stephanie with the hashtag she can't be trusted, and has no qualms about tagging her. Stephanie doesn't bother to look up at Lena, but instead fires back her own silo with an angry face emoticon, also with an accompanying hashtag, don't hate the player, hate the game. Welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio, where we challenge the fitness between your ears. I'm your host, Tiaja. The 9th strategy of Noam Chomsky's 10 strategies of media manipulation is how the media strengthens self-blame. Now, on the surface, self-blame would seem like a characteristic you might want your children to possess, and yes, to an extent, that's true. But certainly not when it's based on something as superficial as not being able to attain wealth or fame. And that's where our children are today. Now, not every child is going to fall victim to this media trap, but particularly those parents who are millennials themselves will likely pass this kind of self-effacing narcissism onto their children through imitation, that is, behavior and attitude. When an entire generation is raised to devalue life, if there is not a 7-figure salary attached to it, or millions of adoring fans, in the long term, it will have cataclysmic repercussions on the world. 2018 will be just another year unless today you decide it won't be. It is Tuesday, August 28, 2018. Let's flow. So I grabbed a couple of older episodes of My Sweet 16 off YouTube just to give those of you who have never heard of the show a chance to hear live examples what Dr. Twenge alluded to. I just so happened to pick up a show with the rapper Lil Wayne's daughter. And let me throw out this disclaimer. Most parents, if they had the financial means, would spoil their kids to a degree. But listen to the attitude behind this young lady's words, and you'll gain a better appreciation of how parents contribute to the narcissistic personality. But remember, parents learned it from somewhere. As Dr. Twenge alluded to, this narcissistic personality disorder, particularly in adolescence, has increased over the past several years at the same rate of obesity. What we do know is that human genetics haven't changed for millennia, so it has. Who or what is creating this narcissism and who is benefiting? At the same time, narcissism is on the rise. Teenage suicide rates have also increased. Now wait, that doesn't make sense. Why would a narcissistic personality type want to end their life? Well, what if I were to tell you that the quickest way to make someone feel and accept blame is to first make them feel that they're solely responsible for everything in life. And when they fail or fall short of their own self-imposed expectations, life no longer has meaning. The second clip is a brief overview of another young lady who is sharing her experience in the same show with her Instagram and YouTube followers. Take a listen and hear the unreal expectation to sound, look, and be perfect.
Yeah, she's 16. My dad's about to spend some money, baby. My dad says that I can have anything that I want.
At all times.
This is what's up. What 16-year-old has a Ferrari?
Not one.
I could be the first one.
Who's gonna pay for that?
My father.
It's my chance to shine. Discovering so much more in life. I hate 16.
Hey, I'm Reginae Carter, and yes, I am the one and only daughter of Lil Wayne, the hottest rapper in the world. He's been in the game since he was 9 years old and sold over 15 million records and won 4 Grammys. He may be the #1 stunner to y'all, but to me, he's my father, and I'm daddy's little girl, and he showers me with whatever I want. My mom and dad grew up together in New Orleans before he was a big superstar. They fell in love, had me, then got married. They were married for 2 years, but then got divorced. So while he's off being the hottest rapper in the game, me and my mom live in Buckhead, the Beverly Hills of ATL. And here, I'm the princess of the South. Just like my dad, I'm also a recording artist, and I plan on doing it big, just like him. I am turning 16 years old in a few weeks, and my Super Sweet 16 has to be on fleek. My father is rich. It's not like this party has a budget, right?
There's a budget, period.
We don't have a budget. My main focus is making sure I have the most epic party that Atlanta has ever seen. I have to have my second line band, bring it back home like this here. And with all my friends helping me, I am going to make sure that I am for real, stunting like my daddy. Time to turn up. Yes! Turn 16! Hey, Mama.
Hey, boo-boo. What's going on?
I've been trying to get to talk to you about my party.
Girl,
You haven't
what?
paid me any attention whatsoever.
Really, Reginae?
Are you even looking for planners?
Okay, I was thinking about Yolanda, who planned my wedding. She worked with different people, other celebrities like Magic Johnson, like a lot of people in LA.
I don't know Yolanda, and we're not
My
saying
wedding was beautiful.
It was, and I bet Magic Johnson event was beautiful too, but you guys are old. I just want my party to be like no others, and Miss Yolanda is just not what's up. What are you looking at? This list?
What is that?
Okay, this is just my list. Okay, well, I have like 200 people on here now. I mean, I have to add probably like a good 80, 85.
Yeah, I want you to have a nice sweet 16 birthday party, but we're not going overboard like that. $500,000 for a party is a bit much.
This is the time where you guys have to just, take that money out
No.
your pocket and just...
No,
Well,
baby. We have better things to be doing with our money.
I don't even
That's
want that
not
many
fun.
gifts. First, I want the nose piercing. I've been wanting a nose piercing for a long time, and I want to perform. I want pictures of me, big pictures, hanging from the ceiling. Oh, and remember that Chanel bag that we seen? And I want the Celine little mini. I'm done with Michael Kors, Mom. And then the car. Of course, I was thinking about the Ferrari.
Who's gonna pay for that?
My father.
Girl, all this craziness that you're talking about
Will
is a no-no.
happen. It will, Mommy, and I'm gonna have to call my dad.
I want you to call him so I could tell him about what you just did the other day with the little boy in the house. How you snuck the little boy over here.
Mama, please don't tell him.
I will be letting your daddy know about that.
No, I'm having that sweet 16, and I'm calling my daddy right now, and then you're not gonna tell him because you love me so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him. Trust me, I'm gonna tell him.
When it comes to my parents, my father is my friend, but my mother's more strict. Like, you know how you got bad cop, good cop? She's the bad cop. Hey there.
Hey, Mom.
What you doing?
Nothing much, baby.
So, my mom is telling me that I can't do certain things and get certain stuff. You said that I can have whatever I want.
That's what it is. You can have whatever you want, according to me. Well, it's your birthday, baby. You do what you want.
Yeah.
She's 16. So you gotta enjoy it and remember it forever.
I know. I can't wait.
Hope you enjoy it. You deserve it.
I will. As long as you give me whatever I want.
At all times.
Daddy, you FaceTime like an old man. Why are you so close to the camera?
I'm not trying to be.
Hey, I love you.
I love you too, baby. Nice, sweetheart.
It makes my mom mad that my dad says yes after she says no, but, you know, I'm a kid. I'm going to do that.
Bigger than my wedding. It has to be bigger than everything. And I've been talking about it since I was like born. I came out the womb, I was like, sweet 16, like where are you, you know? Diamonds everywhere, diamond everything.
Hold up, put your ass in the air.
Hey guys, it's your girl Diamond. Today I'm going to be doing a story time on how it was like being on MTV and all that, like everything you probably want to know about it. I'm just going to try to hit every point that I can like think of. But yeah, so I wanted to do a video originally on this topic because first of all, like it's been a big part of my life ever since it happened. Everyone like knows about me being on it or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to like make a video on how I felt about it and how it was basically. Oh no. Okay, so I'm gonna start off on how I actually got the opportunity to be on the show, like what I did to get on the show basically. So if most of you guys haven't known, like if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like I'll have the link down below, but I was on My Super Sweet 16 on MTV. I was the premiere episode of season 10 and they just came out, like season 10 was like their like comeback. Yeah, season 10 was like their comeback from like 10 years ago when they used to like have shows all the time and episodes up like every week, and then like they stopped for 10 years and they came back strong. I'm joking. But yeah, so I was like I was the premiere episode or whatever, and yeah, I'll have it linked down below if you guys haven't watched it already. On Instagram, one of my followers had tagged me into like this post. Everyone texts me why I film, but when I'm not filming, like they don't, so thanks. So a follower on Instagram, thank you for whoever that was, tagged me into like a post and it was like, oh, My Super Sweet 16 is coming back, all this stuff, like, and they're doing auditions, like they're looking for people and things like that for like their episodes. And I was like, I remember the date, it was like January 20 something, like it was January 20 something, I know for like a fact, for sure. So I went up to my dad the next day and I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to do this because I was turning 16 in April, and like when it happened, that was January, so like I was turning 16 in a few months and I was already planning my Sweet 16 party. But I had no idea that they were coming back with My Super Sweet 16. And let me tell you guys, I already said this in my video about like my contest that I had for like $1,000, but bro, I loved this show for so long. Like I watched shows so much when I was little, like so much. So yeah, even when it was off like air, I was still watching it. Like I would be watching the full episodes. Like I've watched every single episode of My Super 16. Like I can say that and not like there's no doubt. Like I've watched every single episode. And I don't watch TV like that. So I was like, okay, like oh my gosh, I need to be on this show because it's just so entertaining, you know?
Now here are my 2 cents, and feel free to keep the change. We live in a complicated world, not because life is complicated, because it's not. Life is simple. Go outdoors and observe nature, watch little children playing in the park, and you'll instantly recognize its simplicity. We like to commune in nature in part because of its simplicity. The word commune is a word we seldom use in common speech these days. It is a derivative of the word communicate. Similar words like community and communion are also derivations. Today, however, the concept of community is a lost concept. Today, it is primarily based in the virtual space known as social media. Think in terms of a video chat where you see and communicate with an actual person, yet that person isn't real in the sense that you can reach out and touch them. Social media has allowed for the weaponization of communication in such a powerful way that we can now bully, stalk, and intimidate someone emotionally from the comfort of our own homes. And even though there is no imminent physical threat to that person, the perceived harm and psychological damage are no less real. The manufacturing of narcissistic individuals ensures minimal unity, and therefore on a macro scale, a population that is already divided is easily conquered. It has also created an entire culture of self-blame. Why? Because the narcissist believes they should be able to control all aspects of life, including controlling what others think about them. Sure, narcissists externalize blame too, but externalization of blame is primarily an effort to deflect blame from self. Life is simple, but to reduce it to wins and losses is troubling, not only for human relationships, but for the sanctity of life itself. Our bodies and minds exist in the reality we create. To pretend there is no correlation between media manipulation and the high mortality statistics in America would be disingenuous. When you've been given the power at the earliest age to detach, disassociate, mute, unfollow, and delete someone, please don't tell me that by the time you reach adolescence, you won't find a reason to do the same to people in the real world. Dear friends, I wish above all things that you prosper just as your soul prospers. You've been listening to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host, Tiaja. If you like the content we bring each week, then follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, as well as any of your other favorite social media. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button or download our app at tiajae.podbean.com. And I'm also really proud to share with you my latest podcast and YouTube channel titled T's Uni-verse. It's already catching fire, and trust me when I say it's unlike anything you've heard before. Check it out every Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 5 minutes or so. That's guaranteed to change your life. And don't forget to stop through our website at www.urbanxfitness.net, where you'll find our online stores, the Urban Experience Fit Stores 1 and 2. There you can download our unique home and gym workouts, dietary menus, as well as purchase some outrageously bold teas and spark your own revolution of self-care. Also, check out our small library of my hand-picked, personally endorsed nutritional products. Got it? Okay, then get it. Until next week, as always, walk in health and peace. We pray for the young people in Jacksonville.
Good evening. I'm Sheriff Mike Williams, and I'm joined here tonight by our Mayor, Winnie Curry, our State Attorney, Melissa Nelson, FBI Special Agent in charge of the Jacksonville Field Division, Charles Spencer, and JFRD Chief Kurt Wilson. First, let me say this. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families who were all affected by this senseless act of violence here today. I ask that you please pray for these families as they deal with this tragedy in the coming days and weeks. I'd like to thank the media for joining us as we come together to provide the community with an update on information and dismiss any rumors regarding the events that took place earlier here today. So here's what we know. So this afternoon there was a Madden 19 tournament event at Chicago Pizza at the Jacksonville Landing. At 1:34 p.m., 911 calls came in stating that people had been shot inside the Chicago Pizza. 2 minutes later, at 1:36, officers were on scene at the Chicago Pizza inside the Landing. Shortly thereafter, businesses in the Landing went on lockdown as other patrol units worked to evacuate the area. When the SWAT and bomb teams arrived on scene, they also conducted a detailed sweep of the Landing. So there were 3 deceased individuals at the scene, one of those being the suspect who took his own life. There were 9 victims transported by JFRD to area hospitals. 7 of those had gunshot wounds. In addition, there were 2 additional gunshot victims that self-transported themselves to local hospitals. I'm happy to report that they are all in stable condition at this time. So let me recap.